Alright, so hello everyone, and welcome back to Factorio. Let's click resume, and then we can get into it. So, when we left off, we were midway through getting Gleba all set up and ready to go. So, we have rocket defenses up here with plenty of rockets, and a couple backups technically. And we also have laser defenses in front of them, which hopefully will help deal with all the little guys. Let's get some walls up there. And we're still missing landfill. So that's one of the things that we need to craft in this area. So our landfill production is down here, but it's run out of stone. Okay, that makes sense. That is not at all surprising. So, how do we get more landfill? There is some stone up here, but hardly any. There's another tiny chunk over there. And it looks like the stone mostly comes in these like tiny little chunks. Nothing significant anywhere. So let's just get some electric mining drills set up. Okay, we do have some of those here. And I guess we just get these filled in so we can do something like that, and hopefully that'll cover most of that patch anyways. And then we get the power going out there. And let's just charge these guys with the substation. Should be able to fit right there and get powered up. Alright, so we have some stone production again. So then we just have to bring this over to make landfill, which is going to use probably all of the stone that we can possibly get. Yeah, that can basically just use infinite stone as long as we're giving it to it. So that just sets up like that and is all good. So hopefully that will supply the landfill. Okay, well, I was going to supply landfill to these guys probably first. Okay, I think we need that to be a passive provider chest with... Yeah, so that should get rid of the spoilage from that. And let's honestly limit... Why are you all over there? You go over this way. Alright, so those should now be limited so that we don't use all of our landfill making that stuff. And Vulcanist support doesn't have enough capacity here. For what? For getting the rocket fuel, I guess? Okay, that's probably fine. Why do you have so much of this other stuff then? Just get rid of the carbonic asteroid chunk to save a space. And what else can we toss out that doesn't need to be here? Just some of that stuff probably. It should be fine as is. Don't need spare of those, and we don't need all that firearm ammo. So that should be enough space as long as the amount of coal doesn't increase dramatically, which it's probably going to. Alright, so back down to Gleba. We are filling up my personal inventory with landfill, which I don't actually want because I want them to be filling up the storage with landfill. So let's run up here and just get that in. So up we go. That's a cliff. Tiny little stealth cliff, basically. Alright, so now we're in the area. Our personal drones can go in and get that stuff built. And now this should be basically secure. I don't know why it's doing it like this. So this area should now be pretty resilient against pentapod attacks. Hopefully that all works together. Artillery shooting speed upgraded. Very nice. Let's see. We should have agricultural science functional again, right? So let's see if we click Biolab. Is anything going to happen? Yes, we are actually getting progress through the Biolab. Cool. So that is something. Don't know what exactly the Biolab is going to do, but it'll probably do something useful for us. Alright, so what we want to be doing is we want to be producing stack inserters and eventually Spidertrons, although that's probably just going to be a question of sending the rocket turrets over to Novice for that. I don't know why we would do that here. Actually, do Spidertrons... Yeah, Spidertrons do have a rocket capacity of 1, so we can send them around. So, we have our rocket turret production here. That's all good. For the stack inserters, we need processing units, bulk inserters, and carbon fiber and jelly. So, we have processing unit production because we have to for the space elevator. I don't think we have bulk inserter production. So let's just remind ourselves that's gear wheels, circuits, and fast inserters. Okay. So, gear wheels, we've got those here. Circuits are over here. And fast inserters are in that box. Alright, can we get this belt of gear wheels out? If I just pop a splitter like there, then this can go under that way. And then this goes up to here. Get some underground belt space. And we can bring this along to that. So our gear wheels are now lined up with the circuits. So if I just pop you in there to make bulk inserters, and you take from there and from there, this is going to need to be powered. And then you just are going to request or chest the fast inserters because that seems a lot easier than running a whole belt. So you request or chest the fast inserters, and then you output the result over to here. And let's keep a couple stacks of these. And we're going to need to upgrade the green circuit production, which is short on wire at the moment. So, the problem with wire is not enough copper plates. Problem with copper plates, not enough copper ore. Problem with copper ore is not enough copper bacteria. And the problem with copper bacteria is not enough bioflux. Alright, so what is wrong with our bioflux production? You aren't getting enough jelly. The jelly seems to more or less be cooking along nicely. it looks like we might be a little bit resource flooded over on this side. But it doesn't... Okay, so some of the jelly nuts are getting through occasionally. But what we can do then is beacon with speed modules. Do we have speed modules here? I'm going to have to do this in this mode, I guess. There we go, beacon with speed modules. And that should get some of these guys going faster a little bit. And alright, now it looks like we're doing fine. How much jelly nut seeds? We have 1,000 jelly nut seeds on this belt, so that's not the issue. Jelly nut input is fine, apparently. So it must just be... Oh, we might actually be going too fast for this production, for this belt. Do we have turbo? We do have turbo belts that we can use, although we don't have turbo splitters, so that's kind of irrelevant. Okay, so what we actually need to do is we need to go down here and get these ones going faster, maybe, because they input halfway through. So let's get a beacon for them, which we can sneak into there, or we could try to sneak it in somewhere else where it won't cause weird stuff with the underground belts. That should just barely fit. And then we have to find our speed modules to power it up. Where am I zoomed in to? Here we are. Alright, so we have that now. So these two should go extra fast when they have access to the jelly nuts, which seem to be somewhat intermittent, actually, because this is past the point of the loop. You're also on Gleba? Yeah, Gleba is fun. It's very, very confusing at times. It's sort of complicated to get everything working, but it's a good challenge. Okay, one entity is being damaged. So one of these pentapod eggs did something or other for some reason. I'm not sure why that happens every so often, but yeah, as long as we have the laser turrets there, it doesn't really cost us anything meaningful, so I guess I'm fine with it. Alright, so are we... We're probably just wasting too much of the jelly nuts, throwing the jelly off into that direction as it comes in. Like let's see here. This splitter can go output priority right, so that more jelly goes down this way and less loops through. That should be more efficient, I think, because most of that stuff is just getting shoveled away anyways. So this at least sends the jelly down through this portion before that happens. Are there any other spots like that where jelly is getting wasted? Or is it just... It's just that these delays are pretty long. These delays between when the jelly is showing up again is quite substantial, actually. Here's some more. So that is good. But how much of this stuff is going to be destroyed is the question. So the jelly nuts are going to just loop around here. And if we're destroying a lot of jelly while also not having enough jelly up here, then that's obviously a pretty major issue. And actually, I'm not seeing any bioflux getting made up there. Alright, now we're going again. So this one is producing a bit of bioflux. And so are these. But at the same time, we are shedding a bit of jelly that makes it all the way around. So, how do we fix this? Because this is just like clearly wasteful, and it's probably going to get worse as this loop continues. Like the amount of jelly that's making it all the way through and just getting destroyed is starting to get high. So if that is happening at the same time as these guys occasionally running out of jelly nuts entirely, then that's obviously no good. So I think that beacon is actively detrimental. We actually want jelly production to be slower, I guess, so that it's more stable over time. That's counterintuitive, but I think it's true. Because if there's just less jelly going out on the belts, then there would be less of it getting thrown away. Okay, another thing that I can do to help a little bit is if I get that and then filter it to take jelly only, and then you actually are going to need to be a bulk inserter. Alright, so that should help a little bit if we're requesting jelly through the logistics network. Grabbing it from there instead of there seems optimal, I think. I don't know, though. We just need to rethink this whole system, probably. So do we just decrease the amount of these guys that we even have in total? We could also productivity module them so that they go slower. But either of those... Let's see, I mean, this machine takes a lot of jelly, which I guess is fine. Okay, we're losing a power pole on Novice. That is down here, but we have 2 substations, so we're fine. Alright. Nothing to worry about there. Alright, so yeah, the amount of jelly nuts that we have is decreasing, and the amount of jelly we have outputting is also, yeah, it's just extremely wasteful, which is what's causing the problem. We are producing bioflux, but seemingly not enough. Like, we need enough bioflux that some of these guys down here get it. Okay, so how do we just do some circuit network stuff for this? So what we could do is, okay, I have an idea, a very rough idea. We're going to take all of these, connect them up to the circuit network, and we are going to get a decider combinator to run this. So it's going to output to those, and it's going to input from here, I guess. Okay. Let's see. So what we need to do is we need like a switch to flip. So we actually need a timer on this, basically. So if if stuff goes down this belt, then we need to turn off fresh jelly production for like 10 seconds or something. Something along those lines might work. So you're going to read belt contents, and pulse is fine, probably. So, if you get a jelly of greater than 0, you are going to output a timer condition. So you are going to output a weight of 1. And then we need to remember how clocks work. There's some good way of doing this, but it was like clock outputs, clock inputs. So let's say if we do that, wait, how does this work? How does this work? I had a very basic setup on Novice that was not ideal, but might at least be something. Alright, so we had an arithmetic combinator which output clock plus 1, and then a decider combinator which outputted the clock when it hit 60, and then multiplied by -1. There was some way I saw on the wiki of doing like all of this within a single decider combinator, though. So we need you to be connected in with yourself. That's, first of all, that's true. So if clock is less than 1, you output a clock of 1, and that's just gonna flicker indefinitely. And what if we make that input count? Now that's just locked. Alright, how does this... How did I do this? So you are connected up to this. And that's definitely not it. Alright, what if our clock is... oh wait, no, maybe if your clock is less than, like, 100, then you output clock of 1, and... Okay, I just have to admit that I have no idea how to do this. Let's take that out then, and instead we're just going to say... I need to figure this out, though. There's some way of doing it. It was like... It was something to do with it outputting its own input. Maybe it's like... Maybe it's like this. It's definitely looped in with itself. So... Clock is less than or equal to 0, then it outputs a clock of 1. Why is that not working? That should be doing the whole flickering thing again, shouldn't it? I'm probably just getting confused. Let's see here. So if we just... How did we do this? Okay, maybe you need to also have... Oh, right. I think I remember now. You needed a constant combinator as well. So if we have something like this, and if we do like that, clock is less than or equal to 100, output 1. And then the constant combinator outputs a clock of 1. So now this is giving 2. And how do we do... Oh, is it input count? Yes, it was input count. Alright, so now we have a clock. And let's see here. If we set this to like 1,000, let's say, so that the clock runs less frequently, then we get you to be... We need this to be like a latch of some kind. So you check whether we're throwing away any jelly. And if we are throwing away jelly, then we output the pause, which we actually don't really need that, right? So if we're throwing away jelly, how does a latch work? We need this to turn it off until the timer flickers. So when the timer resets to 0, we need to turn this back on. So how does that work? We need it to toggle between 2 states based on how it's working. So you probably read that clock equals 0, and you're going to read from there. And why is that just going up? Oh, right, because it goes all the way up to 1,000. So if we do that, and we do an AND, then this should only output the single flicker every 1,000 ticks. Which, what does that do? What does that do? That's not what we want at all. So, okay, we need this to also be looking at itself, so you need to be checking the wait signal. So we do this, or the wait signal and clock is equal to 0. Is this right? So we have... Wait, no. And clock is greater than 0. Alright, so now you're outputting pause continually, but then when this hits here, then... Okay, you aren't connected in with yourself? I could have sworn you should be. Alright. This needs to be equal to 1. Not equal to express belt. Equal to 1. Alright. So now we are now we're doing nothing because we don't have any jelly. And if we vent any, then the wait signal will go on, and it should stay on until a full loop of the clock, which is semi-random. I wish I could do like an explicit cooldown, like have the clock only start when... Oh, we can actually do that, right? Have the clock only start when the wait signal is active. So, if we do that and wait signal is greater than 0. So now the wait signal is active for quite a while that's happening, and then eventually it will flicker a bit. Alright, so now we have all this. All we need to do is set these guys to be enable disable, wait equals 0. Alright, so now all these guys are disabled, which should prevent us from throwing away jelly for a little while. And then... Okay, it looks like the clock just ticked over. So is this stuck? Are you gonna hit 0? Oh, you'll probably never hit 0. It's gotta be like 1, because that's the constant combinator is inputting 1. So if we do that, then that ticks down, the machines start up, and we produce fresh jelly. And then they pretty much instantly stop, because we have way too much of the stuff. Alright, this might not be a perfect system, but we'll have to see if this actually does get through all the jelly nuts. So really the problem is that this turns it off basically instantly whenever it runs, which isn't very helpful. So we need this to be more lenient. So what we need to do is we need to sort of count the amount of jelly that's going through, and only do it if it gets past a certain point. So, how do we do that logic? So really what we need is we need to just limit... We need to limit the speed of this overall as well. That's something that we need to do. Alright, right now it's running at full juice without issues. But no, there another one went. Okay, but I just saw some go through, so why are these guys not disabled by control behavior? Okay. What is going on here? Why is this now failing? So that's greater than 1. Is this like not happening until it resets? Okay, no, now it's happening. Now it's doing a cooldown. I don't know why it wasn't doing that previously. It's kind of weird that that's happening. But we did eventually get through all of the jelly nuts we had stashed. it seems. Which is very much a good sign. Now, it's a bad sign in that we might still end up needing more jelly nuts, but at least this system isn't, like, not producing fast enough, basically. Okay, we finished researching the biolab. That's cool. I guess we'll figure out what that does at some point. In the meantime, let's just do stronger explosives, because it's relatively cheap and relatively useful. So, we have all of this jelly going out, and then I think what's happening is, because we have this on pulse, if we put that on hold, it'll probably work properly the way I want it to. So we have that set to hold now. And maybe even hold all belts just to make it even more guaranteed. So this is counting up to 1,000. And once it hits that, all these machines should start up briefly. Use some of the jelly nuts. There we go. And then some of the extra gets vented. And that's that. Alright, now, is there some way of making this even better? Now that we're effectively producing jelly sort of to demand, almost, do we just... Is there some way of just detecting when the belts would get jammed and then producing jelly under that circumstance, instead of having to actively vent jelly in order to do that? Okay, no, but here's the problem, is that now we're venting a whole bunch of jelly nuts because we're getting too many of them somehow. Okay, so first of all, this one needs to be input priority left, and I think that should mostly solve the problem in terms of the looping of the jelly nuts. But now we just don't have enough jelly production to keep up with the jelly nuts, which is pretty bad. And the heating towers are also kind of struggling just because of the number of different things that they need to be picking up. Alright, so we have that set like that. But that means that these jelly nuts are gonna get old over time, which is not what we want. Okay, what if we, like, control the speed of the inputs? So, like, if I can just find an iron plate somewhere, like in this box, I just yoink some of those, and make some transport belt number 1s. If I just, like, pop you in there to control how fast the loopbacks can go through, is that something? Alright, stronger explosives researched. Cool. Now let's do... What do we want to do next? That's getting expensive. A lot of these guys are getting expensive, unsurprisingly. Or just aren't spectacularly useful. You get more laser shooting speed. Let's get overgrowth soil. That's a research that is relevant to Glebo, which we might end up wanting. So these guys are on cooldown. Now that is 15 items. And this, if we just get like a red belt in, can I find some iron plates? Is that something which I can locate if I run up here? We do have a good number of iron plates. So let's yoink those. And get a red belt. So now we run back. And if we just get that belt limited down to 30, so 30 plus 15 is 45. So now this belt should, in theory, never overflow. We'll just be rate limited at this side of things, which is probably fine. And it'll still be the full 45 past this point, in theory. Although only if we have full loop back happening, which doesn't seem like it's happening. And this is also going to mean that we're going to need to speed the fresh production down, because this is 4, 8, 12, 16... 20, 24, 28, 32, 36. So this is going to be like 36, and obviously none of those are actually exactly 4. So it's going to be less than that, but something along those lines. Okay, what I could do is, instead of rate limiting that way, I could force the fresh jelly output onto one half of the belt and the loop back jelly output onto the other half of the belt. If I did that, I could theoretically have a full belt's worth, although no, because it would only realistically be half a belt's worth, and then the other half would be only if we have excess anyways. That doesn't seem productive. And now we are starting to have this backlog, although it's not so bad. I mean, it is moving, which is really the important part. As long as it's moving, it won't get stuck, right? And it is indeed moving. So this... It's probably not going fast enough, though, to be honest. And also this needs to not... That connection there needs to be removed, and probably a couple others as well. Yeah, this is probably not moving fast enough, because jelly has a pretty short shelf life, right? Just a couple of minutes. Yeah, this is probably not going to work. Okay, well, let's see here. One thing I could do is just like have an explicit spoilage outflow over here. Okay, now some of that stuff has gotten overfilled anyways, so it didn't even work. Yeah, okay, we're giving up on that plan. And maybe on this plan as well. So these guys should turn on again in a moment. Okay, so we want... The problem is we want to get the full output without compromising on our jelly nut supplies. And I don't know how to do both of those things at once. I do not know how to get both of those things to happen at the same time. So, yeah, we need to have a steady supply of jelly nuts. Actually, just having this backlog here might help a little bit. We might just like get these on a proper cycle. Or maybe... Okay, maybe instead of scanning here, we scan back in like this area so we can get prior warning. That might help actually. So we connect you back to there and possibly just even further back. So if you scan back there, read belt contents, hold, then that... Okay, what if we do hold all belts? Now the amount of jelly is in the 200s, which we don't want. What if we get... What if we limit that belt area down to like that? So now the amount of jelly in here is going to be somewhere in the 20s. So if we do that is greater than equal to like 15. I mean, it's always at that point, isn't it? Then it shuts this stuff down. Okay. How much of this... I feel like the problem might simply be that we don't have enough jelly demand, which is kind of funny considering the thing that we were trying to do was increase jelly demand, but that's up here at the biolabs. So, yeah, this system doesn't work either, because this is just, like, always the case, basically. So maybe if we set that to be higher, so if that's like 50 or higher, what does that do for us? So these are now going because this is not 50. And now that's showing like in the 10s and in the 20s. But if this gets to be super high, it'll shut off. So hopefully that will do something. It's going to take a little while for the jelly to loop around to that point. Another thing is we might... Let's see here. Was what I'm about to say even a good idea? No, it's nonsense. Just ignore that. Okay, the Yumiko berries are having not so much problem. I guess we don't use it as much. Alright, now we have a whole bunch going through, and these ones are disabled. So that's actually good. This is actually limiting the vast majority of the waste by doing it like this. And what are the numbers at? Now they're down to the 30s. And it's cooling down, but they're probably about to just immediately get stopped again. Alright, so this is more efficient production. Maybe I'm looking at this wrong. Maybe rather than worrying about production, we worry about the throughput. Alright, so let's disable the read belt contents of that. So now these should once again just run around the clock. Now what if instead of throttling jelly nut production, we instead just throttle... how do we do this? No, I don't think that's a good option either. I was gonna say we like just shut down these belts when there's too much, But that wouldn't solve the problem, I don't think. No, probably not. Okay. Let's see if just default mode... Just default mode might work. And... Okay, actually what we can do is if there's not enough getting through the system at all times, another alternative would be to just increase the amount of jelly nuts that we harvest. If we do that, then we wouldn't have to worry about all this. And it would be like marginally wasteful, right? But probably fine. So yeah, let's do that. We go down to here. We've got one harvesting machine. So let's just get another one in. So you go... So you went to there. We want these to not overlap. So we pop that in there. And then... let's see, what does this need? It needs a belt like that to feed it the seeds. So the seeds go into there and then get loaded up. And then we have directly adjacent to that, we have a bulk output which will feed our jelly nut supply, which just needs to merge up something like that. And okay, I don't know why that's all that way, but that's fine. Now, this area, are you not within drone range? Yeah, you are not within drone range. Okay, so let's make that fix. I could have sworn it was at one point. We just need to pop some drone ports along, and we don't have any. Okay. Transport platform, do you have drone ports? Yes, you do, and you're over Gleba. Fantastic. So, let's just drop those down. And I clicked on Novice, not Gleba. I was like, this looks different. Alright, so that is going to get its drone port, and then we need to figure out where it's going, so probably out like there would be covered, and then out to like there probably, and at that point we're probably fine. Alright, so the roboports are going. It's going to take them a little bit. They also need landfill. Alright, so the roboports are going in. And then the other thing we need is the jelly nut soil. Which... okay, I can't figure out where it's missing on that square, but let's just get all this stuff filled in. Okay, now... right, so now we've... that transport splitter has to get built before the jelly nuts can move forwards, which has just bricked that the entire production line until a drone gets down there. And we need a bunch of drones to get down there. Did this not work? Okay, yeah, that apparently was just barely too far. So we're going to move you over to there instead. And that's probably going to need to move the rest of these as well. Alright, so we need to get our drone coverage out here before we can do anything. I could run down there manually, but we're close enough to doing this via drone at this point. so you are connected up. And then we just push you a little bit further out to there. And then probably one additional one there just for guaranteed coverage. Now, how much jelly nut soil do we have? We've got several hundred, so that shouldn't be a limiting factor, I don't think. Alright, so yeah, now all this stuff should be getting queued up. And we're missing belts. Transport platform, please help us. There we go. Where else do we have belts? Gleba support has regular physical belts. Missing underground belts, though. And it's not there yet. Alright, so that the splitter got put through, so our jelly nut supply is back up and running. Now we just need to get this powered, which just goes something like that. And then we should be good to go once extra belts are available, which hopefully Gleba support can bring up to us in a moment. Alright, so all that stuff is built. You can't get moduled or anything, right? Yeah, that's impossible. Okay, we're also missing power poles somehow. Let's get those sent down. And another stack, just so that we definitely don't run out. And actually, I physically have 59 transport belts. We need 54. Alright, I guess. Okay, I can turn off personal logistics. Place down a passive provider chest. And throw those in. And might as well get those as well. Alright, so that should be covered. And then Gleba support will be back with more supplies so that we can get this going better. Alright, so now that is set up. And it's going to be doing its thing. So, as far as this is concerned, you... Oh, are you, like... Yeah, you need... Alright, so this new one that I built isn't actually optimal. Sort of in the corner of the biome, it looks like. So if we try to build this out here, we can't, because it's technically not in the jelly nut area. Although overgrowth soil, I believe, fixes that and should be done soon, hopefully. What's going on with science at this point? What are we short of? We're short of agricultural science at this point. So, is Gleba not getting rockets launched? That's what's happening. We have 2 full rocket launches ready. We have a big backlog of agricultural science ready. So neither of those are the problem. So, okay, red circuits are short green circuits, because green circuits aren't getting any copper wire, because the copper wire is all going to fill up this random box for some reason. Alright, that's just stopped. So hopefully that solves the copper wire problem. Wait, why are you short on copper wire? Why were you short on copper wire when there's always this giant row, right? Alright. Oh, right. The red circuits weren't short on copper wire, the green circuits were. Alright, what I think we need to do is just set that to output priority, because if we're not getting green circuits, we can't make red circuits anyways. So let's make sure the green circuits get all the copper wire they need. And still not enough bioflux. What's going on with these guys? Now we're missing Yumiko Mash. That is typical. So what's wrong with the Yumiko Mash? Is it just not producing fast enough? There doesn't seem to be anything wrong with it. It's just sort of going. And okay, some of it is being used to make nutrients here, which, is that actually what we want? I don't think so, actually, because we have our bioflux to make nutrients. So let's actually, okay, rather than taking those out entirely, let's just filter them so that they don't do anything. Alright, so that should reduce the demand on Yumiko Mash by like 6, which is pretty good. And hopefully that is just single-handedly enough of a boost to get it going. But these guys need a lot of Yumiko Mash. Oh, actually the problem is the inserters. It's not even really the supply, it's just that these guys can't grab fast enough. Whereas this one is better positioned to have a fast inserter grabbing Yumiko Mash. And it has plenty. Can I get a speed beacon affecting you? I can. Alright, so you get a speed beacon so that you can produce more bioflux. And then we need to figure out, let's see here. So this supply of bioflux is exclusively going down here and then splitting in some confusing ways. Alright, I don't really know how my bioflux supply works here, honestly. We can get that powered up so that this will go from 1 bioflux per second to 3-ish. Hopefully that will help. And is there any way at all to get the Yumiko Mash in close here? Not without completely restructuring, like, everything, basically. So instead, what I should probably be doing is just finding more spots like this where I can just naturally craft Yumiko Mash. So we have jelly and we have jelly and Yumiko Mash down here, but they're kind of distant from each other. Okay, one thing I can do is I can't just import jelly via the drone network to someplace with lots of Yumiko Mash. So, like, if you are... Does this work? No, that doesn't work. If we're, like, here, for example, if we just make this belt go underground the whole ways, then we get one of you, you get bulk inserter, power pole. Actually, I don't want that power pole there. I want an inserter requesting jelly. So you request jelly and trash unrequested to get rid of any spoilage. And then you output bioflux, which I probably should have spent more time thinking about, but you can just go over... Okay, not all the way like that. Then you just go down like that. And now this whole block gets powered. And that... You are within range... Are you within range of this? No, barely out of range of the beacon. That's unfortunate. But I can actually just shift you over one. Alright, so that is going to be a bit of a nuisance, but let's do that. And you request jelly and trash unrequested. And that goes over by 1. That goes over by 1. Then we can move the biochamber to there. That goes there. And now it should all be functional. Set you to make bioflux. And you get everything. You're within range of a beacon. You are not productivity module. You're making 3.79 per second, which is really only marginally faster. So we might as well productivity module you just to get the resource efficiency. There we go. So that is even more bioflux production, but okay, we've messed that up. You need to go away. What even was that? And now why do I have nutrients everywhere? What was this supposed to be connected to? Okay. Just visually, we have a nutrient belt up there, which we can probably just send it up to. Probably. That's probably not what it was supposed to be, but it should work. Oh, but that is not going to put it on evenly, which is going to cause backup issues. Okay, what else can we do? There's also, if we just chop this back further, you can, like, go around like that and then up there. I have no idea what that is even supposed to be honest. But that's in now. And that's the nutrient belt there set up. I wish I could figure out what this was in the past, because it definitely feels like it was supposed to go up there somehow. But there's also definitely not enough space to actually do that I can see. Now, does this just merge up with itself? So we have the nutrients going across there. We have these nutrients coming down here. Those go up to there and loop in here. These go around to there and loop in there. Yes, that is just splitting and then later merging the same belts. So that's, I guess, fine. I guess that's okay. Now, the bioflux supply is looking better. Yeah, these guys have enough bioflux now, actually, and the wire is all backed up. And now red circuits are being produced. Sort of a hilariously slow rate, but they are being produced. Overgrowth soil is going intermittently when we get agricultural science over there. I imagine, yeah, so at this point, everything is running simultaneously, and then that's going to stop when we run out of agricultural science. We only have 200 left. So this does agricultural science in bursts now, which I guess is fine. It'd be nice to just have faster transportation of this stuff. Okay, you need to be trash unrequested to stop throwing away, to stop filling up with junk. Okay, that's fine. It's not ideal, but it's fine. Now, we want our red circuits to expand up a bit, I think, just to get another beacon and another machine on. So we need to save some space with the plastic going like that. Now you get input from that, and we get all of our modules in. Then this goes up to there. And this goes up to there. And then just, I guess, immediately wraps back around to that way so that everything remains intact. Now we're short on modules and such. You need to be set to make advanced circuits and take all of these inputs. Alright, Gleba support. I forgot to have you deposit your express transport belts. So transport platform, you go back to Novice and pick up some more stuff, hopefully. Actually, let's disable those. We need belts, modules, and inserters. Okay, well, inserters we already have, but we need belts and modules. Let's clear this. Let's just clear this whole section out, because this is a whole bunch of stuff which I don't particularly need to be requesting anymore. Instead, let's go belts, a couple stacks of those, and modules, just like one stack of those, and long-handled inserters apparently. Grab a stack of those while we're at it. Alright, so that is that. And the jelly nut supply is going fine now. This is occasionally growing some plants, which is nice. Our production of overgrowth soil has managed to fall off at like exactly like 80 before being done, which is a bummer. I clicked on the wrong planet a couple times in a row. That's fine. So once this gets its long-handled inserter and its belts, that'll be more red circuit production. Now what were we actually trying to do? Right, we had our bulk inserter production here, which we then need to make stack inserters, which are carbon fiber processing units. Alright, so we should just be able to just find somewhere with jelly and then grab... Can it be made in a biochamber? It'd be cool if it could be made in a biochamber. I doubt it, but yeah, okay, it can't. So we just need an assembler here, which is going to yoink some jelly. And you are going to be making stack inserters. So you yoink some jelly, and then you have a requester chest, which will supply carbon fiber, which I believe we have producing somewhere. Carbon fiber, processing units, and bulk inserters. There we go. Now we just get a power pole, and you then output to a passive provider chest, which will limit to just a couple of stacks. Okay, one entity is being damaged. What is going on up there? Another one of these guys popping, huh? I still don't understand how that keeps happening. I mean, we should be using all the pentapod eggs possible. Yeah, I don't understand how that keeps happening. I guess we're just gonna ignore it. It actually might be like... It might be like the plants or something. If we get the plants out of the area, what happens then? Nothing? Alright. So now it's definitely not some weird mechanic with the plants. I really just want to, like... Wait. What's this? Why do you exist? Okay, that's the problem. For some unknown reason, there was an inserter here grabbing onto those. Alright, figured it out. Problem solved. This was supposed to get a beacon, and it never did. Alright, so problem solved. We just need transport platform. Alright, transport platform is heading back to there. Gleba support is heading back to here. Alright, so that's... everything is all set up once we get our supplies. Which will unfortunately be a little bit, because the transport platform is unfortunately slow. And the research is also going a bit slow. But it should be fine. Now, if I find the spot where I was, we have several stacks of stack inserters. You'll love to see it. So that goes... now, Gleba support, we need you to then request like 100 stack inserters, and also request like 20 rocket turrets, and those get imported from Gleba, and the stack inserters obviously also get imported from Gleba. Alright, so that should be set up to function properly. And any other nonsense happening on Gleba that I need to be aware of. Power is more than enough. The solar panels technically are producing power, but not a meaningful amount. It's mostly our steam turbines, which have plenty of rocket fuel. And the science is going. Now this doesn't have any green circuits because it hasn't been wrapped around successfully. Alright, can I actually just like... if I do something like that, will you just wait for the ability to drop it from orbit? I guess let's just queue up those. Because if it works, then it will dramatically decrease the amount of time that we need to wait to get our build done. So let's just set that up and hope it works. It probably will. Okay, and you need a power pole somehow. So let's get that in. All the rest of this is going. We have plenty of bioflux, and we have enough that we can have it into those. Okay, so this is the rocket fuel production. That's working as well. Yeah, everything is looking pretty good. Now the nutrient supply is always a bit sketch because of how fast the belts are. You're successfully burning coilage to make carbon, which is then going over here to make carbon fiber, which isn't going very fast, but we do have a big chunky supply of it. And if we productivity module U, then that should be better. Productivity module U and speed module U. Although, obviously, the speed modules won't do anything until we get them. And while we're placing speed modules, you might as well get one as well. Alright, so now it looks like the deposits from Gleba support have worked. Let's just send even more down just to be sure. And that should be fine. So now this is producing 0.47 per second, and it's just using spoilage, which we're never going to run out of. So there's no need to efficiency module U. In fact, we might just pop another set of speed modules onto there, just to make enough carbon to get this actually going. So yeah, now we have 0.77 carbon per second, and we only need 0.6. So we should be net positive on the carbon production, which is mildly helpful. And the Yumiko mash is doing its thing. This definitely doesn't need 100. If we set that to like 50, that should limit the amount of spoilage, which is good because Yumiko mash is something which we're technically, I mean, we don't want to waste at least. Alright, Bioflux is doing its thing. The iron and copper are going. Green circuits are back up and running. Alright, so this is going to be producing a whole lot of bulk inserters, which are all going to be taken to do that. So now we have our rocket launch, which... How is Gleba support set up? It's set up to wait for 300 seconds. That might not be long enough, just based on how this is going. I mean, a big portion of that has come, and we haven't even launched a single rocket up to it yet. Like, we're halfway there. Let's set you to wait for 600 seconds, just to give it some extra time, because we need to launch Bioflux and rocket turrets. We did get the stack inserters, so that's nice. Let's go back to Novice and request those. So we have to go to this, add stack inserters, 100. And rocket turrets, add like 20 of those onto my requests. Alright. So that is all set up. Now, back over on Gleba, we are just sort of chilling. Producing more stack inserters. That's going to continue to happen and be quite difficult. Alright, we are launching science up. So that's good. It's been a while since we've had the ability to do science. Rocket capacity is 1,000. I kind of want to send Bioflux up before the science. I wish there was some way of prioritizing your requests. There might be, honestly, but I just don't know it. So, how's our... We have a good supply of blue circuits. We have a good supply of rocket fuel. We have a good supply of low-density structures, so we might be able to just get more of these guys going. So if we just do something like that, we're going to need to craft up the rocket silos, which... Can those even be sent in a rocket? No, they can't. Alright, so how does one craft a rocket silo on Gleba? Do we have the capacity for it? I guess we're going to find out. So we get you. You get a requester chest. The fact that this whole thing is happening over puddles is very mildly annoying. Alright, you get rocket silo. And you get attached up, so you are read ingredients, set requests. We have apparently everything we need except for electric engine units. Alright, so transport platform. You can set this up and request... How many of these can go in a rocket? 400? Well, let's request 400 then. 400 electric engine units and some... What was it? Just regular concrete that we probably needed a lot of. Okay, apparently Novice doesn't store that many electric engine units. So where is the novice engineer storage? It's here. So we're just going to need to expand that out. That's 100, 200, 300, a little bit more. 100, 200, 300, 400. So that will be that. And it will cause some problems potentially with this being more demand than some of the other things can handle, but hopefully that's fine. So we have rocket turrets getting launched. Still no bioflux, but we should have everything we need to make Spidertrons on Novice, which will be cool. Now this never got its bulk inserter. Okay, we don't have bulk inserters, apparently. Let's shove some of those down. Oh, right, the reason we don't have bulk inserters is because we're using them all for crafting. Right, that's what's happening here. Okay, you... I guess we'd just make that a stack inserter then. Shouldn't really make much of a difference. So there we are. And we are short steel plates, short concrete, short electric engine units to make even one of the things. So we should be able to make steel plates on site. Yes, we have steel plate production on site, but it's not working because the iron plate production is somewhat unreliable. So iron plate production is mostly going into gears. Okay, yeah, so that's what's happening. We're going into gears to make all this stuff. So that's what's happened to the steel plates. Let's get that power connected just for the future. And yeah, the only thing we're missing now are the extra launch pads, which is fine. Okay. What else? What else do we need? I feel like there was something else I wanted to do here on Gleba. Is it these? Yeah, so now we're just living in bulk inserter shortage mode, which we can make better with productivity modules on those gears. That will help a little bit, because that is very much being limited by its ingredient supply. Okay, now all those drones have gone off to do something. Don't know what. Alright, so this is almost out of patience. It's going to leave just about now, which is fine. It's going to get one last rocket before it does, though, so that's something. Transport platform has 1,000 concrete. We're working on the engine units. And I imagine Gleba does not produce those. No, they're kind of complicated for what we have on Gleba at the moment. So, the problem is the bulk inserter production, right? So you need gear wheels. You need like all the gear wheels that we can possibly make. And that is stressing our iron plate production a lot. There's not really much we can do about that. I guess we could do a whole giant process to increase iron plate supply, the same way we've done with copper plate supply. Yeah, I guess. Let's just be lazy here. So if we just copy this whole thing and paste it there. We're gonna run out of anything. It hasn't said any ingredients missing material for construction, so I think we have all the supplies to do that. Alright, so that's cool. Now we just take our iron up this way. We're gonna not quite going to work. So the underground belts here reach just barely enough. We had to do that. Alright, so then this goes up to there. So that is iron plates producing. Now we just need to get them down to this belt. So you are probably going to need to go underground. No, actually, this should be easy because there's that little gap here. So we can go like that and like that. And then we need some room in here to go around and down to there. Alright, so now we're missing some productivity modules. So let's get some of those requested up, which should be pretty easy. So Gleba support is already most of the way back to Novice. And now we've got our mega iron plate production over there, which is helping a lot. So that goes... I haven't accidentally... What is this battery production for? It's not connected to anything. I don't know why that exists, but on the off chance that it's important, I guess we'll let it output to a box and put a drone port in the area. So I don't think this actually does anything. Yeah, I'm actually fairly confident that it doesn't because there's not any copper here. I think this is for manual crafting at one point. So yeah, that's not important, I don't think. So, let's see here. Iron plate production is now going burr. And that should be giving us steel as well, which is probably just all going to be going to making this stuff in the short term. We'll also have low density structures, which we have a good reserve of, so that's fine. Yeah, we actually have enough iron plates now to get this producing gears around the clock. And that's good. Overgrowth soil finished. Very nice. Next up will be, I guess, stronger explosives, because we do have rockets as like a main source of defense up here, which means we want stronger explosives. And speaking of which, we should get some rocket turrets down here as well, because this area could also be attacked at any moment. So let's get a row of 4 of them. And actually, no, that's not how we want to do that. We want them to be kind of far away from the machines, but close enough to help. Okay, I guess we can just accept that sometimes the agricultural towers would be destroyed. No, that seems annoying. Where are the attacks likely to come from? Over this way? So what if we just build... The agricultural tower range is very small, so what if we just build, like, over here a bit? 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we get a requester chest, moving some rockets along that way, and then right, the bulk inserter is going to be a problem. Let's just downgrade that. Alright, so now that is all set up. We just need drone and we need power. So power just goes through there and then up to all of those, so those inserters are now functional. And that... Okay, let's also get corresponding row of laser turrets in, which... don't tell me those are going to need a substation. Yeah, this whole thing is probably just going to want a substation anyways. We're gonna have to move the laser turrets up a little bit so that they can get the power lines in. So just pop that through, and then we can just fit power lines in there. We don't have enough laser turrets to actually build that, apparently. Okay, so you then get the request in for rockets. There we go. That should be like the bulk of the defenses. The laser turrets would be nice to have, but not necessary, I don't think. So Gleba support is back on Novice, and all of those are good. Yeah, so it's about to leave. That's fine by me. Transport platform. Well, we want to just fill this up with more stuff, so let's give you laser turrets. And we already requested productivity modules, right? Yeah, productivity modules are already there. So Gleba support is still just waiting for a rocket to arrive, and then it should be leaving. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so that is all going well. These guys have their rockets, and they are supplied with ammo. So ideally that will prevent anything crazy from happening down there. And those are like our two main sources of spores, so it's probably fine to just do that. I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens with the imports, with the attacks, I guess. We might need to import artillery and just keep the nests out of our area entirely. Like, just blow that guy up, and just be fine that way. But I don't know if that's actually necessary, and importing artillery is a whole logistical hurdle, which if we don't have to deal with it, then I would rather not. Alright, but that is mostly good. Now, if we go back, Gleba support should have sent stack inserters and rocket. If we go back to Novice, we might be able to make Spidertrons. Not confident in that, but we'll see. Oh, we also have biolabs, which are a thing now. So I guess let's look out for those. Overgrowth soil is obviously not relevant for Novice, but the Spidertron. Okay, we're gonna need to get fish somehow. I'm not sure how to do that. But we power you up, and we are going to do the whole request thing. So read ingredients, set requests. We have rocket turrets, we have radars, we need exoskeletons and fish. Alright, so exoskeletons and fish. Exoskeletons we should be able to just craft. Just pop that up. And then do the same thing for them. You get connected across, read ingredients, set requests. Yeah, so exoskeletons are now good. You just get those, and you're going to want a power pole up here as well. Okay, let's limit this to like 2 stacks. Probably. Stack size is 20. Yeah, 2 stacks will be more than enough. Alright, so now we have everything we need for the Spidertron except for the fish. So, how do we go fishing? Step one, probably gonna have to go back to Novice, because Gleba doesn't seem like it has fish. Step two. Okay, wait, can I mark fish for deconstruction just like out in the wild? And just pick them up that way? Alright, yes I can. That is a completely unhinged way of fishing. The good old drone fishing. It's a classic. I'm just gonna pick up a couple of those. I think they spoil, so I'm not gonna waste my time picking up too many. But if we just pick up a couple, then where did we do our Spidertron crafting? Over here? Yeah, alright, we have our fish on the way. Have exoskeletons producing bit by bit. You have enough exoskeletons. And you can just keep on doing that. The fish is coming in from very far away. I still don't know why Spidertrons need fish. Like, genuinely makes no sense to me, but it is what it is. So the fish are on their way. How long does it take fish to spoil? Hours? Okay, that should be fine then. If it was going to be like 30 seconds, then we might have a problem. But no, we should be fine. Alright. I see a Spidertron getting crafted. Which... yeah, there we go. Spidertron. Okay, no, I didn't mean to... You're going to be in a random storage chest now. Okay, where are you? Spidertron. Place. Alright, Spidertron has been placed. And then transport platform. We want you to request a Spidertron. Alright. So that is awesome. We have a little guy here on Novice. You are going to get that. And then we're going to go to the equipment grid. And what equipment do we want you to have? A couple personal roboports. Some batteries, I guess. Although I don't think we have any of those. And some exoskeletons to make you super fast. You're going to need a reactor for power. And let's see, what else? What else did we have? I feel like we had more equipment than this. Just tier 1 energy shield. Let's just have a couple of those and see what happens. Okay, so we need the energy shield, batteries. The exoskeleton is just getting produced as it is, so that should be fine. So let's get you set up with personal roboport production. And you get set like that. And read ingredients, set requests, and then output up to there. Our drones are probably going to be pretty busy getting the Spidertron all set up. We'll see if its inventory can even handle all of this. It might not. And we're also going to need to give it... We're probably going to need to give it actual rocket ammo at some point, rather than just the capture bots. And it shouldn't be a huge deal either way. But, let's see. Pretty sure you can send these through, like, with stuff in their equipment grid, right? Like, if I dismantle that Spidertron, I think its equipment grid stays. Alright, so now we have the Spidertron. I actually... It might not be able to carry inventory through the rocket, probably. Yeah, it probably can't. But it should be able to at least carry equipment. So I could get a fully stocked Spidertron on Gleba and on Vulcanus, and then just sort of be able to work remotely from wherever we are. Alright, so you are short on batteries mostly to make those. You are short on electric engine units. Okay, transport platform, you're never getting those. So you might as well just come over to Gleba. We'll have to work out the equipment grid stuff for that one in the future. Alright, so this Spidertron is apparently all set up. So now we can have it do stuff that we want to be on Novice for. Like, we need to go out. I sort of lost access to my previous source of biter eggs. It was up here, and then we ran out of bioflux, and I decided to kill the nest rather than just let it sit there for like potentially hours. But it does mean that we don't have a convenient nest there. So, Spidertron, you are gonna go out, and how do I tell you to move? Oh, I have to select a Spidertron first. Alright, Gleba's support doesn't have enough platform hub storage space. Okay, yeah, so we're probably going to need to upgrade that at some point. Might as well be now. If we just have that go like that, and then we get a cargo bay. Hopefully the cargo bay can squeeze in that gap. No, not quite. Okay, we can remove some of these solar panels up there for the cargo bay, and it should be fine. So you just get a little bit of extra storage space up there. And you are full, so you're just going to head back to Novice. And hopefully get all that construction done. Okay, so now, Spidertron, you, my good sir, are going to go out. Let's see, where would be a convenient place to have a nest? Is that a nest, or is that just like... That doesn't look like a nest. That looks like a random collection of biters. Alright, we're going to head out this way. And... Okay, it's only armed with capture rockets, right? So that might actually be a problem. Can I select you? No. Apparently not. Okay, so you are gonna go down here. And I guess this can be mostly just like a scouting operation. So you are in the vicinity. And there are a bunch of biters around. So we are gonna need to figure out how to deal with them. You don't have any proper ammunition, right? Right. Alright, so you can request rockets. Although I don't know if we have any on Novice. So you can request rockets and just come back up here. Hello. Go. Okay, apparently left click. You have to right click to move. So you can request rockets and go back. And just sort of get used to controlling Spidertrons for a bit. Because we are going to need to clear out the actual biters when we do this. in addition to capturing the nests, which is going to be a little bit complicated, actually. Alright, so you are back within range. Yeah, we have no rockets in logistics storage. Now, if we go to your equipment grid, you're missing most of the equipment as well. So, our personal roboports are short on batteries. That seems like something must have gone wrong there. Why are we not... Batteries are output full. Okay. Okay, these ones are also output full. Did we just never put batteries? We must have just never had batteries in the logistics network. So we can just fix that pretty easily. Just pop them in there and grab some of those. And then we... Let's see, you are still requesting more exoskeletons. So we need electric engine units. And these aren't getting any of the regular engine units, which aren't getting any gear wheels. So what's going on with the gear wheels? Same old story, they're producing, just not going fast enough. We do have a box with a couple hundred of them. But where are they going? They're making belts? Okay, I guess we're making belts with all of our gear wheels, which we should be almost done with. Like, once this box is filled, that should be that, at least for the red belt production. So, did I have a source of gear wheels somewhere? I'm pretty sure I crafted a bunch of them, like... Yeah, this. So you're a passive provider chest with thousands of gear wheels. So really what we actually need to do is we need to go in here. Just... somewhere convenient like this. And just... Okay, this belt can go underground for a little bit, so that we can get the spacing right. And you can requester chest, bulk inserter, and you take as many gear wheels as you can possibly imagine. Strong explosives, research finished. Let's pop asteroid productivity, I guess. That's always a good one. Alright, so that is now all getting built up. And there we go. The requester chest is in, which means here come the gear wheels. And, okay, this, we don't need that to be a constant source of gear wheels anymore. We have a better source of gear wheels in the logistics network elsewhere. So let's do that. So that is now providing enough gear wheels for all of these to run, and then for some to get through to the engine units. And hopefully that will get saturated through quickly. It's going to take a little bit, probably. So Gleba support is going. Transport platform is here, so let's drop the Spidertron. And the belts, and the inserters, and some substations, and a whole bunch of concrete, and some modules, and some laser turrets. So that should be most of the stuff that we need on Gleba supplied. Now back on Vulcanus, we also don't have the battery packs or the shield projectors, so let's get those going as well. Personal battery Mark II. You get the whole requester chest system, which is going to need a power pole there and there. And we just paste that. Read ingredients. Set requests. Apparently we have some of each of those, so that should be functional. Limit this to like a stack. And then we get the energy shields, which I could have sworn I'd already done, to be honest, but whatever. So that just goes across like that. Then the requests go in, read ingredients, set requests. Alright. So that is that. Now, this guy here has no rockets yet. So that's going to be the next thing we are going to need. And again, thought I'd have done this already, but whatever. So let's just copy-paste this. Just pop it somewhere up here. And then set the recipe from personal battery to rockets. And that'll take some explosives and some iron plates, but should be fine overall. Alright, you are all set up, and that should be that. And we're going to want a couple stacks of rockets, but not too many. So that is going. We are producing the energy shields now. I think these are just going to keep getting sent into Spidertron production and possibly not filling up the Spidertron we already have, which I guess is fine for now. Let's limit this to 2. So we have a couple Spidertrons backed up, but not an insane amount. So yeah, there we go. That's an extra Spidertron. And now this Spidertron has its energy shields, which are 240 kilowatts each at max. This is 750, so theoretically that's fine. If not for the roboports and the exoskeletons. Okay, can we get just like one laser defense in there as well? Pretty sure. Nope. That's yet another thing which we haven't automated. So let's paste this again and set your recipe to personal laser defense. So that should produce everything we can want for the Spidertron's equipment, and then it's just a matter of getting everything through. So I think we also probably need personal battery Mark 1. So let's get this in. I thought we might have had it already, but with how everything else is working, that is seeming unlikely. So that can go in there. And having a little bit of battery storage should help a lot with that. Okay, you get limited. You're limited. You're limited. You are limited. You can be limited as well. And you're limited. And you are limited. Alright. All good so far. Spidertron. Oh, Spidertron is like... Is it just sitting directly outside of the logistics network? You run just like a little bit over this way. You should be receiving rockets, right? Yes. So now you are within the logistics network. You can get rockets supplied. Which I think we did actually. Yeah, we did already have rocket production up here. That's fine. Alright. So now we have a good, solid Spidertron set up. And what happened up here? Just random attack on a corner, as usual. Okay. The Spidertron is looking much better now. It's still missing its batteries. How is this going? You are producing every so often. Hopefully that means that this guy can start going. You have 6 personal batteries. And we're getting more every so often. Yeah, I just want to have some power storage in the Spidertron so that it doesn't just immediately run out of juice to do anything interesting like power its shields as soon as anything happens. But maybe I'm just being overly paranoid. Maybe I'm just being overly paranoid. So this is up to 9. I think it needs like 10, right? Yeah, so you need 10. So we should almost be there. We just need to bring this down to that, and then we'll be good. Alright. So that's 1 personal battery. Which should just get brought down to the Spidertron now. There we go. And powered up. So, you have everything except the exoskeletons and the second battery. And these batteries can actually store quite a lot, so it should be fine. Battery capacity of 100 megajoules. Shield capacity of 150, whatever that means. And you also have a bunch of repair packs on you to keep yourself healed. Okay, let's see what happens if we take the Spidertron out for a spin. You're going to go down here. And hopefully it will automatically use the right types of missiles against the nests. It would be super convenient if it did, and kind of inconvenient if it didn't. Alright, so down you go. And you just sort of clamber along. Alright, now you are right here. And so, step 1, we need to figure out how to deal with all of the biters safely. Actually, what you can do is, we don't have power out here. So you could just deploy power, right? Because you have power poles, you have laser turrets. Okay, that's what I think we're going to do. We are going to have you bring power up from here. And, okay, the wrong button, that's annoying. So you are going to go up here, and you have your personal drone ports and everything, so you should be able to get these built. Yeah, there we are. Seems like your range is pretty bad, but whatever. What is your range? Yeah, it's pretty tiny. With 2 roboports, it's 42 by 42, which, you know, could be a lot worse. So now let's just continue dragging those down and get the Spidertron to run along and get that stuff built. Alright, so you just keep going. This is not quite as convenient as doing it manually, but it's also way better than having to, like, string drone ports along this whole path. Alright, so just a little bit closer. And we want to be hitting this nest down there. So there we go. Now we are in this general area. Oh, we got too close. That's fine. You make sure to keep retreating. Why are you not firing? Hello? My good sir, have you considered using all those rockets that I gave you? Yeah, it seems perfectly happy to just rely only on his personal laser defense for these, which is annoying. We're just going to run back to the walls to deal with it that way. Alright, so now we're back here. We've got tons of laser turrets to clear all that stuff out. Alright. How does this work? Wait, no, don't unselect that. How do we... Let's see, left click to drag and select Spidertrons, shift left click, add, control left click to remove, right click to send. Okay, I don't understand why we're having problems with that. We might have to, like... It was set to manually fire, right? Alright. Spidertron. Shoot you with a rocket, please. Alright, I mean, the personal laser defense is fine for those random little scrubs, but it's going to be a problem if we can't figure out how to actually fire real rockets. Alright, so the Spidertron is out here, auto-targeting, without gunner is on, and you did fire a capture bot rocket. Oh, is the problem that it tries to, like, cycle? Yeah, that might be the issue. Okay, so we can still do this the old-fashioned way. So you are here, and we are going to build a nice, convenient box and put some laser turrets in it. So that should draw aggro, and you should be able to keep them all healed. Alright. So now we run in here, and we are going to want to capture bot rocket all of those guys and then run back. Okay, so now those ones that I've targeted there are protected from automated shooting, which isn't exactly how I wanted that to work, but I guess is fine. Alright, so we need to get rid of the worms, obviously. So what we need to do is bring our power poles further up and put in some of those guys. And you need to get closer, obviously. And even closer with the laser turrets. And even closer. Just run the laser turrets right through the center like that. Alright. So it ran out of capture rockets, which allowed it to actually function as intended. So that's fine, but now we're going to need to get this secure with even more laser turrets. Alright, so at that point, it should be fully secured. And now we just need... Okay, we actually need drone coverage out in this area. So let's get all that in via the Spidertron, which should have drone ports in its personal inventory. Right? Yes. So that works perfectly fine. And just have to sort of bring the Spidertron back with a chain of drone ports. And back to there. Spidertron can keep going. And we just keep chaining the drone ports along as it goes. We're going to have to be relatively quick with this. Otherwise, we're going to have problems with the bioflux. Alright, so now this is all connected up. It should be anyways. Okay, I think we just needed like one more, maybe? Alright, so, yeah, now this should be clear. So now we can get requester chests down here with inserters there, there, and there. And there we go. So those are all in. The Spidertron can go down here and place those, actually. This one still isn't officially captured, which isn't ideal. So the Spidertron is going to have to... These probably already got requested. No, Spidertron needs to get capture rockets delivered. And actually, is that a capture rocket? I think it is. Alright, so we have capture rockets showing up. And you get to there and start capturing that. Alright, so that seems to be successful. And now we just need... Oh, I forgot to set the bioflux. That's not good. So we set bioflux requests for all of these. And actually, it would probably be better to just set one bioflux request and then loop it around. We'll do that in a minute. For now, we just need to get drones down here with bioflux ASAP before this stuff has serious problems. Okay, let's start walling this in. So that's walled in. And now we are going to want to get some substations to give the exterior power. And this is not perfect, but something like that. And then slam some laser turrets in here like this. Alright, I see bioflux showing up, and none of these have popped quite yet, so we should be in the clear. Alright, so let's just get this southern wall set up, and that should be fine. Alright, so you have food, you're now healing, you have food. Alright, so food supply is good. Now we need to deal with getting the biter eggs out. So I guess we just sort of make a belt like that. And apparently all of this somehow has managed to get built in a dead zone. So let's do that. Okay, so biter eggs go out. We need... Let's see. Do we want to just like send all of this stuff up top? Yeah, let's do that. So you get a passive provider chest with a bulk inserter. And then we just need to reuse this setup up here, which we've already done. Okay, you don't need a bioflux requester anymore. So what you need is a biter egg requester. So we get that in. Where's the biter eggs? There they are. And you're going to request as many as we can possibly get. And that will be a little bit before it's all set up. Alright, so Spidertron. Can Spidertron run up this way real quick to just get... Alright, so now we have our biter eggs going in here, and they should eventually get requested all the way up to there. Now, if they don't, let's just place in, you know, like a good casual 20 billion laser turrets in this area to prevent anything from going wrong. Alright. So there is some technology to move biter spawners, but I don't think I have it at the moment, so we're going to have to leave it as is. Okay, so now the other thing which we wanted to do was to centralize the bioflux supply. Now that these guys have some health to spare, we are just gonna do that, and bam. And you request 100 bioflux, and I think you are starting to run out of a lot of stuff, so you can just run back up into the base. And I guess the drones will have to get all this stuff covered, which should be relatively easy. We are outputting all of the biter eggs, at least at the moment. We're still waiting a little bit for the fuel supply to come back, but it shouldn't be that long. So yeah, everything is built up. We just need the bioflux to get all the way down here, which it would be super convenient if it didn't have to travel quite this far. But there it is. Alright, so now we go up here, and we have productivity module production, and we have plenty of usage for all of this. Now, what was that biolab? All right, let's craft up a biolab. See what this even does. So we're gonna place it there, and then we're gonna need to craft it. Obviously, actually, do I still have this in my inventory? Yes, I do. So we paste you there, and you get set, no, not set recipe, you get set to biolab. Alright, so we don't have uranium-235 in the logistics network, so that's an easy fix. Obviously, we just have to make that a passive provider chest. And then we should have plenty of the stuff. Did this gun just fire? Yes, it did. Apparently there's a... I think you missed a spot. Can you get rid of those guys before they make a spawner of some kind? Okay, apparently you're not shooting. Okay, no, you did shoot there eventually. Alright, so they're moving now, I guess. That should be fine. You still aren't in. Okay, so this biolab thing, you are going to need a couple rows of laser turrets, just in case something goes wrong here. It says there are 10 biter eggs on the way, which should be fine. We have everything else on the way as well. Now we need to create some way of getting rid of the biter eggs once we're done with this. Which, who knows how that'll work. I guess we're probably just going to make a small number of these and then disable it. We could also do like we did on the... Yeah, okay, that's actually what we need to do. So back on Gleba, we had this set up for making biolabs. So we just take them from a belt as it passes, and it's then destroyed immediately, and then we have some logic to not take any extras. Right, so this is just if we have... If this is less than 20... Yeah, let's literally just copy-paste that. Let's see here. We need to place down the decider combinator. Alright, so decider combinator goes in. And we paste that. And you just need to get set for biter egg and... what is this making? Biolabs. So if biter eggs and biolab are less than 20, so you read from there, and you read from there. Although wait, does this need more than one? I need to check that. You need 10. Okay, so you need to be, if that is less than 10, and biolab is less than 20, then that outputs a check mark, which the check mark powers that inserter, and otherwise we have the check mark going to there. So you are enable disable check mark is greater than 0. You need to filter so that you only interact with the biter eggs, and then enable disable if check mark equals 0. Alright, so we're going to have to move those belts out and then put them back. And then the biter eggs... Hang on, I'm dumb. Do biter eggs burn? Yes, biter eggs are burnable fuel, so now we can just get in a random heating tower and just toss them in. Alright. So, that is that. And we're gonna need all of those laser turrets in the short term, because this first batch of 20 biter eggs is probably gonna do something. I could have sworn I saw this run. What happened to it? You need uranium-235. Oh, it got placed. I see. So this biolab just sits here, and it takes all types of science pack drain 50%. So is that just the only difference? It's just more efficient? So if we compare that to these ones, they are research speed 8.75, productivity plus 20%. Okay, it has better research speed and lower science pack drain. So I think that's what's going on with this. So that... Oh, do I have these backwards? Oh, no, wait. How... So we have less than 20. And biter eggs are not less than 10. Oh, right, so we have 20 in there already. So that's what's happening. So we are waiting on the uranium, which... Okay, let's just give a larger request pile for that. So if we just request like 40 of that, let's say. Because the rest are coming from really close. The uranium just has to go a much greater distance. So we have that. And the biolabs, they don't require like any extra work or anything, so that should be fine. Okay. That's all good. And then these are physically larger than these, so we're going to have to... Once we switch over, we're going to have to physically alter the alignment of these things. But they are also way faster and more efficient, so we definitely are going to be encouraged to use biolabs instead of regular science labs, I suppose. Alright, so you... Wait, you have... Oh, I see. Okay, that's... Okay, that's an issue. We just need... We just need to do that. And then you are going to request the biter eggs separately. And only 10 of them at a time, please. Okay, then you stop requesting the biter eggs. Which means we're going to do none. And refined concrete. And the biter capture missiles. And... science labs, and what else was there? Was this 5 things? Yeah, 5 things. So this has all the requests set. So this can then no longer be set to work that way. So now you are the one which is set up. And this one needs to be attached to you. Enable, disable. Check mark is greater than 0. And alright, then we just copy paste all those settings across, but that is active. So you're disabled by control behavior. Why? You should be outputting, right? Checkmark should be greater than 0. 10 is less than 10. Why? Where are you reading this? Oh, are you connected to that too somehow? No. Are you connected to that too somehow? No. So you're reading 10 biter... Oh, because this is set to read ingredients, obviously. That was broken. So you instead need to be set to read contents. So now that is 4, which is less than 10. And we're good. So now this should all work if I... How did I dismantle that fast inserter? I definitely didn't intend to do that. Alright. So now this has all of the supplies it needs, and we're going to set this to a good couple, because we can never have too many of those. Now up here, this is still running and making Productivity Module Mark 3s. And I don't know why it's going through all the work of making nutrients before instantly burning them. It doesn't really matter either way. It's a little bit weird. Okay, meanwhile this is going. We have 3 of them. And we're getting more of those delivered. This is waiting for source. This one... Oh wait, so this one also needs to be connected and set like that. So you should be disabled. You should be enabled. Yes, alright, cool. Problem solved. We should be fine as long as we have a steady stream of incoming biter eggs. Which should happen, probably. Alright, now let's just go to here and take those spoilage vents out, and instead we are going to fill in with biolabs, which are then going to need spoilage vents. So I guess let's put those back in. So these then stop being whitelisted. So now we can use the biolabs for everything wherever possible and get them powered. Alright, so as far as speed goes, these ones are kind of insane because they're feeding from these beacons back here, which they won't be able to do permanently because we don't have enough space. So we're going to have to do some clever arranging to give these guys speed modules, which I think... Let's see, if we go... Okay, wait. What these need to be filtered for spoilage. That's obvious. Spoilage, there you are. Alright, so let's stop doing whatever that is. No, don't dismantle that, whatever, it's fine. Close enough. Alright, we got there eventually, and that's what matters. Alright, so these are now all set up to work like that. And... okay, so we need a beacon. And... one of those. This actually just isn't going to fit properly. Okay, let's just... Is this production working well? We've got another 2. Okay, can you request like 30 for now? Just to increase the rate at which that stuff gets made. You can be dismantled. And these ones can be dismantled. As can all of this stuff. So all this stuff goes out. Okay, so we are going to go up to here and make our row of biolabs. Which, if we just remove that drone port... How much is that going to break everything, I wonder? We need to move all the drones out of it first. Alright, so now we just sort of need a drone port there, just slightly off-centered. Alright. So, that should be fine. Then we go with our biolab rows. So... what I want is a beacon there, and a biolab there and there, and then a beacon there, and a biolab there. Alright, so this isn't quite going to work with the location of the inserter chests that we have currently, but that's fine. So we just need to sort of shuffle things around a little bit. So you have the settings. And then we get you over. You have the settings. So then we pump that up to there. And let's just dismantle these boxes, probably. Wait, no. Control Z, Control Z. Those boxes are fine. We just need to dismantle these boxes. Those boxes are fine, but we don't want them feeding down to the regular science production. So let's get that going. Then for the modules, we want speed modules in there, tier 3 productivity modules in the labs themselves, and power lines. Okay, the power lines actually, can we fit... We should be able to squeeze substations in here, right? Yeah, so if we just go substations there and there, that should cover everything. So now, if we copy-paste this, then make a bunch of rows of it, then we're going to need more of those guys to get anything done. And we need the substations to go in. We're only actually 3 short for now. And it's still just the biter eggs which are this problem, and that is perfectly fine by me. Let's set this up to like 50 even. We have a lot of biter egg production now down here, right? I mean, a lot relative to what we have is 1.5 per second. So, productivity module production is going well. Biter eggs are getting destroyed. Then in here, we have this one filling up. So yeah, that is all just working slowly but surely. So now these guys are research speed 9. Okay, no, that didn't get it. The beacon wasn't placed in yet. So these are 12.25 each. In theory, potentially more. Yeah, no, these are insanely fast. Holy cow. Okay, they produce a lot of pollution, though, I think, is the trade-off. So that, we might need to add more defenses on this system. But it looks like everything except for that one biolab has been built. Oh, and the pollution vents. We need to get those. So we get a bulk inserter with filters and spoilage. And then we paste those across and get the settings across. And then they provide their spoilage like so. Alright, so that should be everything. So these take like 15 each on the inside. So that's 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90. And then the ones on the outside are like 12 each. So that's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. So this is like 200 research speed. Whereas these ones down here are, what, 4 by 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 4 by 7. So 4 by 7 is 28 times 10 research speed each is 280. So this is still marginally slower research than this, but it's dramatically more efficient. And speaking of which, is there some problem with our agricultural science, or is it just because we have all this bioflux going around now too? We've got like 200 bioflux. Why do you have this much? Does this only... Oh, this rocket capacity of 1,000. Got it, that makes sense. I don't know if we want to be sending a full rocket. I also don't know if we have enough rocket capacity to even do that. Alright. So, we're getting more. That's another 4, which means we can paste this up again. So you have to align properly. So you get pasted like that. And Then the settings get cleared on those. And then it fills up. Alright, so that's pretty cool. Our old science is deactivated again. And I guess we could, like, disassemble these to free up both the space and the science packs and the productivity modules too. Yeah, let's take all that stuff away and free up a whole lot of stuff. Okay, and also we've now managed to disconnect the power in the process. Let's just put some power lines down to some random spot that has it. Okay, so you are low power just because you're not connected currently. That's fine. You over here are doing fine, and we have plenty of drones. Although they've all gone to charge. That is going to take quite a while. Alright. I mean, we should be basically all set now. We're going to have... We might have to place more storage crates. Let's just spam in a couple more of these guys, just to make sure we never ever run out. And yeah, the drones sure are busy. We're throwing spoilage into the storage, which didn't I have somewhere that destroys spoilage here? Yes. Oh, right. You're set up to only burn spoilage if we have too much of it, which we seem to not, so that's fine. I forgot that I did that. Good job. So now this is all set up, and we can just continue to expand it if we want to. Yeah, let's just paste more of this on. That's fun. We're probably just going to burn through all of our agricultural science doing this, but that's fine. So Gleba support is here. It has dropped off the agricultural science, which means we should be going soon, right? Yeah, we should be booting this stuff up. So here we go. Science is getting done. And it looks like most of them are running at this exact moment, which means we're going to get a whole lot of science. Now, how much is left? Still in the 700s left. Alright, that's a good sign. So this is all running and providing us like 200-ish science per minute and rising. So it looks like we're stabilizing at around like 270, 290. I wish I could see the graph like more long term. Like with the power graph, you can click back into the past to see what was going on. Can't do that with these. But that's fine. So it looks like we still have plenty of agricultural science. So yeah, we're capping out at 430 science per minute. That's insane. Obviously, the agricultural science may or may not be able to keep up with that demand. That's what we're going to be finding out here in a minute. But it means we're getting through asteroid productivity 4 real fast. And then we can set up, I guess, let's just enqueue transport belt capacity and tool belt equipment, I guess. I guess that can be a thing. And health, I guess. Can queue up like 2 of those. That'll be fast. Plastic bar productivity, because why not? Okay, we should be getting to the point where we're starting to run low on agricultural science. We only have 300 left in logistics storage. We do burn through it reasonably quick. So that is that. Alright, our new science setup is complete. Although I say complete, let's just paste a couple more of those guys in. Because why not? And now... Okay, now we don't have enough of those, which is fine. They should still be getting produced every so often. Like there's another one. And now we get... Surely the scythe can't keep up with this for much longer. Looks like it is stabilizing though. Yeah, so it looks like somewhere around 400 active is what we're going to be doing on a normal day when we've just received science input. Alright. Asteroid productivity researched. That should be very good news for Vulcanus, which is still relying on asteroid inputs for coal. So Vulcanus Support 1 is fully saturated. Why? Why is that? What is in this? What is in Asteroid Support 1 that is not in Vulcanus Support 2? We have like 3-ish rows of that. Does Vulcanus Support 2 just like have additional storage somewhere that I'm not seeing? No, it doesn't. So Vulcanus Support 1 has 6k coal, Vulcanus Support 2 only has 5k, I guess that does it. Yeah, that would be the deciding factor, I guess. This is set to go up to 10k, but we need more space for that. Alright, do you have cargo bays? You have one cargo bay in you. Do you have cargo bays? No. Alright, well we're gonna just preemptively place more of these guys in. So you get a couple extra rows of cargo bays, as do you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, so now you have a whole bunch of cargo bays. This isn't working. Why is this not working? Oh right, this needs to be set down to like 30, I think, in order for that to function properly. I think that was a fix that I made after I copy-pasted. No, this one is... Oh, well, this one's just fully backlogged because it can't output the coal. So that's not really a major concern. They're both going to have to get back to Novice before they can do anything to upgrade that. Now we're up to 500 science per minute. This is crazy fast. Alright, so that's good. Gleba support is back over Gleba. Not getting much of anything. Well, okay, it has its bioflux, has its agri-science. It's got the rocket turrets. It's got the stack inserters. Okay, so the only thing it's waiting for is agricultural science at this point. So what's going on? Is there something wrong with the agricultural science production here? Yes, we don't have pentapod eggs. What's going on with the pentapod eggs then, huh? Not enough nutrients? And that looks like they just need better inserters. So you get stack inserters, and hopefully that's enough. Although it might actually be the supply. So now very few nutrients are making it past this point. So that's good. That's getting the pentapod eggs going. And they're not, like, being used to make that. They should all just be making a beeline directly for the biochambers. Alright, so that is in. How much pentapod egg do we demand? This is 0.75, 1.5, so we demand like 1.8. And we produce 0.5 plus 0.7, that's like 1.2, 1.7, 2-ish, but then we also have the demands that these guys have for themselves. Yeah, okay, we probably just need... If we just put another beacon up there, it'll probably be fine. Just get this guy going a bit faster. So yeah, now these guys have all the nutrients they need. So that's good. The power seems to be going fine. Yeah, power is fine. It's actually a little bit sketchy, but mostly okay. We might need to expand this out by a row or two. We are like in the more than 2/3 point, which is ultimately fine, of course. So how's our rocket fuel production going? We're still short rocket launchers. So rocket launchers go kind of slow. Actual rockets are going fine, as are explosives and coal. Okay, Vulcanist support. What? Okay, no, that... Whatever problem that was got fixed. Fine. So you have launched off all that coal. Now, Vulcanist Support 2 also has a lot less calcite. It only has 200 demand, whereas Vulcanist Support 1 has 2,000 demand, so that's probably a big portion of it. Alright. Anyways, Vulcanist is now getting its coal supply as usual. And it looks like we are actually getting almost to the point where we have modules for days. So the red circuits are getting fed into here, and that's where most of our coal is going, I think. But eventually, I mean, this is most of the way to being saturated. And at that point, we won't be producing red circuits, and then we can finally get a bit of a breather on the coal supply, which has been kind of in shambles ever since. Plastic is mostly just going down here to do red circuits. Alright, back on Novice. We have science, and yeah, so we have managed to get through all of our science before Gleba support has really even gotten especially close to returning. So that is fine by me. And we can probably set you down to 300 at this point. So you can return. You're not at the point where that is going to make much of a difference. Alright, that's a stack inserter, which I think is actually a bad thing. I think you need to be a bulk inserter. So let's get that in, so we can figure out what we're actually missing, which is the electric engine units. Yeah, so you need to head back to Novice, I think. At some point, we need to get electric engine units out to Gleba, and we might have to craft them manually here. How do you craft electric engine units? Circuits, which we have. Lubricant, which we definitely don't have, and I don't think we can even get easily. And engine units, which are just steel plates, gear wheels, and pipes. Alright, lubricant. How would one get lubricant if one wanted? So we have sulfur and sulfuric acid, but lubricant is made from... Where is lubricant? can't just see the fluid lubricant in that. Lubricant, I believe, is made from like heavy oil or something, or light oil, or some type of oil. Oh, Gleba has... We can set down actually a Spidertron here, can't we? Pop. There you go. Have a Spidertron. And you are going to request some rockets at the bare minimum. So you get a stack of those, which this Spidertron should be able to help if we have some sort of catastrophe. We have a Spidertron with rockets to help fight off the biters. And actually, we should be able to... Alright, this is a little bit risky considering this is an unupgraded Spidertron, but if we just, like, send you out to go on an expedition and blow up that nest, it should be fine, right? So you go out to here, and there we go. Mission successful. And then you also just get rid of the little puddle there where the eggs come from. And that is cleared. Okay, we would also want you to request repair packs so that this doesn't happen. Alright, so that is cleared out. Any other... Yes, there are some egg pods over here, which are technically within my spore cloud. So let's send you over there to deal with them. Gosh, having Spidertrons is so nice. You can just send them around. I am personally on Gleba, but this is more like a proof of concept for the future. So that we know that we can indeed just rely on Spidertrons to clear out various eggs. Alright, so you go over here. And I mean, this is probably not going to be super well defended, right? There we go. And problem solved. Alright, now let's go for a bit more of a challenge. This looks like a decent sized area. Alright, so that's the main guy done. And the other guy down. And now we have to get rid of the egg raft. Okay, let's keep moving. Alright, so yeah, we need either explosive rockets or just a lot more rockets in order to deal with the constant swarms of little guys. But the proof of concept works. It is extremely effective to just have our guy just run around and making everyone's day bad if they happen to be named Pentapod. Alright, so I think that should be a good spot to wrap up here for the day. Let's just make sure the spider gets repaired a bit. Where are you going? Okay, you're going to go stand there. Alright, so spider is repaired and rearmed. Mostly rearmed. Yeah. So that's all good. So now I think we should be good for the day. So, the plan for tomorrow is we have this space platform up here, which is supposed to be making blue circuits and rocket fuel and low density structures so that we can just not have to worry about having ground-based rocket launch systems. So once we have that, we can basically have as much rocket launch capacity as we need, and it'll just work. So that's going to be our goal for tomorrow. And then if we are done with that, then I think we genuinely might move on to, what's it called? Fulgora. So, okay, well, it's technically not tomorrow. That would be on Friday, because I alternate. So I will be doing Satisfactory tomorrow, in fact, where we are probably going to be finishing up our plutonium power plant, which is very exciting. And then on Friday, we'll be back in Factorio. So I will see you guys then. I stream every weekday from 2 to 5 Eastern Time, so make sure to follow if you haven't already so that you know when I'm live and what I'm doing. And that's about it. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you guys then. Bye.